I want to get your take on what does Kyoma need to do to win, and the same thing for Patchy. What does he need to do to beat Kyoma?
Kyoma, I think he has to have a really strategic plan. If you have the Patchy versus Mario Batista, I think Kyoma could win that fight. If you have the Patchy versus his last opponent, the Jiu-Jitsu guy, yeah, what the does a black belt mean, dude?
Don't be a hater, really.
A black belt doesn't mean anything. Listen, here's the fucking test. I don't even think Chef is fighting guys in Japan in his real style of fighting. I think he's practicing. Yeah. To be honest with you.
Yeah. And his strength and conditioning is not like scientifically proven or backed up or nothing. It's like, I just saw this on TikTok, and I also run 20 kilometers a day. It's that kind of rocky he's doing in the mountains, and his like buddies hold pads for him, and they're not even like fighters. It's real. So
that's awesome. Crazy. That's awesome. I do think there's something to that though, like just like gritty hard work.
All right, Mr. Billy-san, よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
All right, so we got RIZIN.52 coming up soon. Big main event, Patchy Mix versus Kyoma Akimoto.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting fight.
Super strange.
Super strange. Is this strange?
Yeah, well, I just think it surprised everybody. There's a lot of questions around it. I think there's a lot of questions of, this is like a proving ground of how good is Kyoma, and also like how good is Patchy. You know, I think we all know how good Patchy is, and then he just had two, rough fights in the UFC, and in the moment made everybody question him, but I still think he's still the same killer that he's always been,
Right. Also, the move up to featherweight makes a, puts another aspect in there. Like, how's he gonna do going up another weight class? Bantamweight was probably a pretty tough cut for him, so potentially we could see Patchy of the old, or like, the Patchy in Bellator show up to Ryzen.
Right. Well, and comparably, I think like Kyoma, I don't know how much weight he really like loses to make featherweight, so I think it's probably pretty equal in that sense.
Right.
Size.
But Patchy wouldn't be a small featherweight, would he? Even in the UFC standard, like.
Well, his frame is not small. He's a big frame, but I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess they'd have to see like his DEXA scan and like know how much muscle mass he has and like bone density and everything. So it's kind of a hard question to answer, to be honest with you.
It's not just like the frame of the athlete. You have to kind of get into the details, how much muscle mass he has and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I guess in that sense, you could say Kyoma and Patchy are kind of equal. Kind of came up from bantamweight. Both have big frames.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it. Who has longer reach? Is it Patchy?
Oh God, I think Kyoma does, but even if he did, it wouldn't be such a big difference. I feel like for both of them. Maybe Patchy's taller and Kyoma has longer reach, but it's kind of like one of those. It's like pretty much the same.
Well, either way, it's exciting. I think it's a really exciting fight.
It's exciting, and whoever wins potentially could fight for the belt. So that puts another, interesting aspect onto this fight. I mean, as far as who's gonna fight Chef, Patchy is more interesting than Kyoma.
Yeah, I think so. I think Patchy's more interesting, but even on like the flip side of it, like, you have like the Kolesnik fight on that card too. Kolesnik and the
Ayamo, yeah.
I'm actually kind of excited to see other potential matchups that could come from both of these fights. I think Kyoma versus Ayamo is really exciting. They're both really young, both have a ton of potential, about the same amount of fighting experience, at least professionally. That's another like really exciting future fight that I think of.
Yeah, I mean, Ayamo versus anyone seems like it would be a good fight. I mean, not good fight, but like it'd be an interesting fight to watch, or at least a fun fight to watch. I mean, that guy's pretty crazy, right? I like him though.
He's like the dark horse. He's kind of scary, like unpredictable. He's tough, man. He's tough and just seems like young and hungry.
We're gonna talk about his fight later on, but you don't watch the confessions or anything, do you? Like, so there was one of Ayamo and Kolesnik.
I saw some clips from it. I did see some clips from it.
Yeah, so he's pretty crazy. He's one of those guys that likes to train by himself in the boonies somewhere, and he literally just does strength and conditioning, and sometimes goes and spars like once a week at a MMA gym, like a proper MMA gym. It's kind of like one of those. Yeah, he's fucking insane. Wow. And his strength and conditioning is not like scientifically proven or backed up or nothing. It's like, I just saw this on TikTok, and I also run 20 kilometers a day. It's that kind of rocky shit he's doing in the mountains, and his like buddies hold pads for him, and they're not even like fighters and shit. It's real. So
that's awesome. Crazy. That's awesome. I do think there's something to that though, like just like gritty hard work that like the sport, as it's become more popular, has gotten away from. Sometimes like just doing stuff like that, training in the woods, training alone, just doing really hard things. Like I think he wears like a weighted vest and runs or something like that. Just being tough. Like you're just being a man. You're just being tough, you know? I think there's some importance to that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure if this is true, but like as far as striking goes, there's guys with like a natural sense. A guy with a good sense and good athletic abilities can kind of do it. They can like just look at a fight and like, oh, I'm gonna try that. And they can kind of do it just by their natural sense. But as far as grappling and wrestling goes, there's none of that, right? Like it doesn't really work like that.
Well, I think case by case, I think it's more rare. You know, the US has a pretty structured system through like high school and college wrestling. So like, for example, you don't see many guys start wrestling in high school and make it to college. That's kind of rare because they just don't have like the sense of wrestling yet. They haven't developed it. But it does happen. Like with grappling, like, I mean, I come from a wrestling background, but I don't have like formal jiu-jitsu training, but I can grapple with really good guys. You know, I can hang with black belts and grapple with black belts. Probably more so of a sense thing than a technique thing. I think it's just case by case.
Yeah, because you kind of see that, not a lot, but it's not very rare in striking where a guy, he breaks all the fundamental rules, but he knows he can dodge these punches and kicks and he can also hit the other opponent. Like they can just do it. So like, I don't know, there's some guys like that, and I guess Ayamo kind of has that, and he's just tough and strong and, you know, has self-belief, I guess.
But I've never seen it until I got to Japan as much of like that Street Fighter aura, like the whole thing. Like, I guess there's like a lot of talk of just different guys that like Street Fighter background and stuff, and like having that sense. So I guess it seems to be more common in Japan. I'm trying to think of like street fighters in the UFC or like people that come from like a street fight brawling background. I think the only one I could think of is like Daniel Rodriguez.
Maybe like Van. You know Joshua Van?
Joshua Van, yeah, but doesn't he have a background boxing coming up?
I don't think he went to a boxing gym ever. He started straight up in MMA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then he was just like fighting on the streets or whatever. And I guess, you know, I'm pretty sure he didn't go to a boxing gym. His first gym was an MMA gym.
Oh, cool.
So he's kind of like, one of those, I guess.
Yeah, just athletic, good awareness and everything.
And just tough. And it's in a weird way, they just don't know any better, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, so Ayamoto's that's a fun one.
Yeah, that's a great card. But I want to start with Patchy and Kyoma. I want to get your take on what does Kyoma need to do to win? And the same thing for Patchy. What does he need to do to beat Kyoma?
Yeah, okay. I think let's start with Kyoma, I guess.
Okay.
Kyoma, I think he has to have a really strategic plan. You know, like, of course, there's always a chance for like the home run knockout and all that, of course. So like, I'm not saying that can't happen because it certainly can, but I think he really needs to be strategic. And so he can only assume that Patchy's going to try to grapple with him and try to slow down the fight and control him. And, you know, the one thing, I'm not sure exactly about the height, but they're pretty close in height. So I would say like Kyoma's whole game plan has to be based on a ton of lateral movement, a ton of feints, and just really trying to freeze Patchy before getting to his big strikes. That would be kind of an objective I'd focus on with him. You know, get him moving backwards and just try to stay out of that clinch. Because like, you know, the one thing that I don't think we're going to see is like a ton of traditional level changes from Patchy. It doesn't seem like he shoots like a traditional wrestler. He usually kind of pushes guys to the cage or kind of like clinches with them and then starts scrambling to the back rather than like shooting a hard takedown.
Right.
So I'd say you got to stay lower than him to kind of avoid that, and you got to keep moving. Try to chop those legs down. I think, you know, Kyoma's one of his things that we do see a lot is he doesn't have much of a rhythm change in his punches, and also he stands pretty upright.
Yeah,
like his legs are straight. I think that could be worrisome in a fight against a grappler.
Right. Is that because it's easier to grab a hold of it, or like just to set his balance off if he's standing up taller?
Well, I think, you know, Kyoma comes from like a boxing background, so I think it's kind of like he has a bit of a boxing stance. And he probably does that like also just to generate power, and, you know, he feels comfortable being able to move like that. But if, you know, Patchy puts like a barrage of punches together and gets Kyoma really moving back, you know, hopefully he's got the footwork to move laterally, because if he moves straight on the line and gets pushed back to the ring, I think he could be in some trouble.
Right. Does this fight happening in a ring benefit Kyoma more than Patchy? Because Patchy can't push him up against the cage and stuff.
Yeah, like 50-50. I think if Patchy can get to a clinch, I think it's actually better for Patchy. I think like guys that are, you know, big grappling based guys like Patchy is, really do well in the ring. Okay. And can actually be slowed down a bit in the cage. Oh, that's kind of my take on it. Like, not to say that jiu-jitsu can't be super strong in a cage, because it can. We've seen it be strong in a cage, but I think the cage actually supports a wrestler more than a grappler.
Right. Okay. That's interesting.
I think the ring actually supports a grappler more than a wrestler, because a wrestler wants to push you to the wall to slow you down. Right. And in a ring, you can kind of keep that scramble going, and you can actually utilize probably more traditional jiu-jitsu.
Right. Because there's no cage to bump into.
Yeah. There's nothing to stop you, really.
Right.
So I think, you know, maybe the takedown will be a little bit trickier, but again, with Patchy's style, I think if he gets his hands on Kyoma, he'll be able to figure it out.
Right, right. How do you feel about the referee stopping the action when like the fighters are like half their bodies are outside the ropes? Like, hey, stop! Don't move! And they gotta move them back. What do you think about that?
I guess it depends on the position, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. So like Shogunai, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
You just hope that your fighter, or if you are the fighter, that you're not in a terrible position when you're restarting the open, you know?
It's exactly what you said, shogunai, because they're gonna fall out of the ring, so you have to kind of move them back. I always find it interesting. They kind of just, hey, stop, don't move. It's kind of like these guys are like having a street fight, and everyone's like, hey, get back in there. These guys on the outside kind of pushing them back in.
Yeah. But I think that's part of like the magic and fun of what like Ryzen is.
Yeah, it's true.
So like I think it like I like it for that reason, but I could see how in certain positions it could be pretty unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, a lot of lateral movement for Kyoma, a lot of, you know, using his jab, staying behind his jab, throwing volume if he can, feints, level changes. I'm not sure, like, I mean, his kickboxing, I'm not sure like what the level is, to be honest with you. So maybe be careful. You know, Patchy might catch a kick and run him down with it.
Right.
So yeah, I think, you know, Kyoma could get it done. He's got to be able to freeze him, hurt him, and keep moving, and maybe look to finish the fight in the third round.
If you can get Patchy guessing, I guess, with what you said, like the feints, having him react with it, he can probably get, you know, the advantage and take control of the pace. I guess that kind of depends on how good Patchy's striking is, though, right? Because if he can hang with there on the feet with Kyoma and he's not reacting unnecessarily to Kyoma's attacks or feints, Akimoto is going to have a hard time getting him to respect his punches. Yeah,
you know, I think Patchy's like to go on the, you know, how does Patchy win the fight? I think he's going to be on the aggressive. I think he's going to be moving a lot, like shuffling a lot, I would think. I don't think he's going to stay on the line with Kyoma. So he's probably going to try to get off that center line, I would think, just because Kyoma's probably going to lift that knee up, and he's also going to be, you know, he generally throws pretty straight punches. Yeah, and I think if you have the Patchy versus Mario Batista, I think Kyoma could win that fight. If you have the Patchy versus his last opponent, the jiu-jitsu guy, you know, Patchy actually looked great and, you know, wrestled him and did take him down and did control that guy on top quite a bit. And I think, you know, that kid is a two-time KSW champ and a really good grappler. So I don't think Kyoma possesses those same skills that the Polish kid does. So I think Patchy would get it done in that case. So again, it is weird because there's clear routes to victory for both of them. And it really is just going to be who shows up.
Right. I guess we can expect Kyoma to be in the best condition he's ever been in. I would imagine. There's not so many variables, I feel like, for Kyoma as much as opposed to Patchy. Because Patchy's the one coming to RIZIN. He's going up a weight class. He's coming off 2 losses from the UFC. So it's kind of like what kind of Patchy's going to show up, I guess.
Yeah, but Patchy's like obviously been training hard. Like you look at his Instagram. Personally, I haven't seen him at all, but just from the guys he's training with, I know the room he's in. He's got good coaches and they train really hard. And, you know, I don't know what Kyoma's doing. I'm sure he's working hard as well. But like, I know that Patchy trains with killers, like really, really good guys. I know that. Really good grapplers, really good strikers, and, you know, multi-dimensional guys. I think all of the cards are in Patchy's hand, but, you know, Kyoma, he's got a big task ahead of him. And, you know, again, he's a young guy and hopefully he's got the right coaching around him and the right game plan and can put it together.
Yeah. There's not much for Kyoma to lose if Patchy happens to get the best of him. It doesn't hurt that much, I would feel like, for his career. He's still so young.
He's so young.
Yeah. I don't think he's even 20 yet. Maybe he just turned 20, but like, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. No, it's cool. And like what he's doing is very cool. Like I think to go after it and to be in the position that he's in, I mean, there's a ton of exciting fights that he could take. And, you know, he chose to take probably the toughest and scariest one outside of Chef. I think that says a lot about his character and the man that he is and the man that he's becoming. And either way, it's going to be exciting, you know?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are going to tune in because there's American people want to know, how's Patchy going to do? Here, nobody knows who Kyoma is. But, you know, maybe come March 7th or 8th, whenever the fight is, maybe everybody will know who he is.
It's true. It's true. Even if Kyoma doesn't get the win, if he puts like on a good show or good fight, puts Patchy in danger a couple of times, it'd be great for Kyoma. What do you feel about this Ryzen rule set where you can knee the guy on the ground, you can soccer kick him? Does that like favor Patchy's grappling style? How do you feel about that?
I don't think we're going to see it much. I think like, just from my experience, like the soccer kick and knee to the grounded opponent, like I guess the knee is more dangerous, you know, like in that tripod position or the one knee down position, where like in the UFC you can get away with it. But it just seems like a lot of the knees to the grounded opponent and then the soccer kicks or like the stomps, they just come from like luck and timing. You know, it's just like when they're really beautiful and they're like great attacks is like kind of just like a good timing, lucky situation. And I think it's kind of rare.
Right.
Like you don't see it all that often. Like Patchy's so long, I think it's going to be hard to run that knee. Let's say they're in a sprawled out position or like he's on top of him. I think it's going to be hard to run that knee without giving up position, you know? Like I would say, hey, let's just focus on position and ground and pound rather than going for the knee.
Yeah, knee, soccer kicks, it's true. I think that's pretty much it, except for maybe that you can have, I think you can do like a 6 to 12 elbow, but... You
can do that in the UFC now too.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I hope I didn't get that wrong. I'm pretty sure you can. I'm pretty sure you can. But did Ryzen change their scoring set?
Oh yeah. They kind of went to the point must system. I think. Sorry, I didn't look into this too much, but they do the point must. So it's same as the UFC. It divided into 3 rounds, and I think if the round is a draw, they go to the Ryzen's original scoring criteria.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I think that also changes your strategy of how you're fighting. So like, if that is the rule set and that's what's going to happen for this fight, then I think Kyoma needs to be even smarter about how he goes and fights. Like he needs to be strategic because he can steal rounds and still win the fight versus like, you know, I could see in the old rule system, maybe he'd want to be more aggressive rather than strategic. Or I guess, I mean, he wants to be both, but like he'd probably want to be more aggressive in the old rule set. Whereas this new rule set, like you can be a little bit boring and score points and then, you know, go for it in the 3rd round if you have to. Or
I mean, there's more room to be strategic as far as scoring points with the point must in 3 rounds for sure. It's a better system though. I mean, let's be honest. I like Ryzen and the fights they put on, but the point must is a better system for like scoring a fight, I feel like.
Ryzen's more fun. Like well, not more fun. There's a fun part about what Ryzen is because it really forces the fighter to fight to the bell. Like you still have a chance. Like you could probably lose round 1 and round 2 and then have great conditioning and win round 3 and still win the fight.
Yeah, it's true.
Like that's what makes Ryzen beautiful, but also it makes sometimes some decisions kind of feel questionable.
Yeah, if it's like this, then I mean it's hard to score, and then sometimes, you know, it's
for sure.
Like, what? Like I won?
But what could change that is like you know how like in Breaking Down, if it's an even round and then like Mikuru's standing there and he's like Muay Thai.
One more round, yeah.
Like we need Sakaki Bar out there like Muay Thai. One more round. I mean, anyways, this new rule set will be interesting to see how it adapts. You know, I think it favors Patchy because Patchy can slow down a fight and just grapple and kind of look for his shots and not take as many risks. I think the rule system favors a grappler and wrestler, but you know, we'll see what Kyoma comes out. I mean, I gave you like a whole game plan of what I thought, but I mean, it's nothing that can really help him. Like it's stuff that he has to do. It's stuff he has to drill and implement for, you know, weeks and weeks and weeks to really help, in my opinion.
Yeah. Let's go to Kolesnik versus Ayamo. This is a great fight. It's going to be an exciting match because style-wise, I think they clash very well. It'll probably be a striking match, I would imagine.
I don't know. Kolesnik might just try to go sneak a win and grapple with him and see what's up. Because Kolesnik can grapple too. He's not just a striker. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I guess so.
He's all over the board, right? Like Kolesnik, like he wins good fights and he also drops random fights. So it's kind of hard to know. Like I know he's a good fighter, but it's hard to. I guess he's not always consistent.
Up until the chef fight, he was pretty good. I think he was like on a 7-fight win streak or something like that.
Oh, really? Was he?
Yeah. So he was on a good run up until the chef fight, and then this would be his comeback fight, I guess, from that knockout loss.
Oh no, that's right. That's absolutely right. I was thinking about like because Ryo Takagi fought him, but Ryo had a great fight with him.
Yeah, I think he had him in bad spots. I think a couple of times, but like I think that was the one where he got calf kicked a lot, right?
Yeah. Okay, no, you're right. He's a tough dude. Yeah, it's totally unpredictable. I think it's also the big lights for Ayamoto and a big moment for him. So that could, we'll see how he adjusts and can handle the stardom. I think, again, I think a lot about Kyoma when I think about Ayamoto, about just being a tough young kid striker. And, Kyoma did a great job of coming onto the Ryzen scene and putting on a show right away. So hopefully Ayamoto can do the same.
Yeah, hopefully Ayamoto, because if he can knock out Kolesnik, then we'll probably be talking about Ayamoto and Chef. It's weird because all of us fans are talking about if anyone's going to beat Chef, it's this guy that can just go at him and just hit him first, literally. That's your one chance.
Yeah.
And kind of if anyone can do that, it kind of looks like Ayamoto, if Ayamoto can pull it off against Kolesnik. So
I don't know. I don't think anybody's close to Chef. I don't think. I don't even think Chef is fighting guys in Japan in his real style of fighting. I don't think so. I think he's practicing.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
If he wanted to finish all those fights a lot quicker, he would just grapple and wrestle them.
It's true. It's kind of we're past that point of who's gonna beat him. It's who might beat him is kind of how we're looking at Chef at this point.
Ayamoto, it's kind of crazy though. In comparison to Kyoma had tough fights, but Ayamoto's getting a really tough first fight.
Yeah, it's a very tough
fight. It's a really tough first fight. There's no introduction. I think Kyoma got a bit of an introduction. He fought I can't remember the guy's name, Kintaro, his first fight, which I think was it was a good fight for Kyoma. He was a shorter guy, striker. Kyoma could kind of keep him at range and get after him. So
style-wise, it was very good for Kyoma. But yeah, Kolesnik is a tough one for Ayamoto. But if he can get past this, it's just a one-way ticket to the big show.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good one. It's it's not much to say about it because it's there's still some unknowns. I would think Kolesnik gets it done just because of his veteran ability. But I think everybody's cheering for Ayamoto.
Yeah, it would make it a lot more interesting if Ayamoto can make it because he's featherweight, right? There's a lot of fun matchups for him at featherweight for sure.
I mean, so many fun. Picture Ayamoto Chihiro Suzuki, Ayamoto Hiramoto, Ayamoto
Yama,
Mikuru. Yeah, man. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, Ayamoto. Yeah, I like him. I like him because he just kind of came out of nowhere and he doesn't belong to any gym, which is interesting. So he's kind of on his own. He's got he's on his own team.
yeah, exactly. He's cool. He's cool for sure.
Yeah, I hope he can pull it off. I would imagine if Ayamoto was to win, it would have to be a finish. And then Kolesnik can probably finish him and also take the decision if he wanted to, I feel like. But I guess you would have to give the advantage to Kolesnik if, you have to pick one.
I think so, yeah.
Ayamoto, yeah, he's an exciting fighter. If he can just land one, he's kind of one of those. And he can't fight. It doesn't seem like he has it's kind of bad to say, but the fight IQ or the experience to kind of fight smart.
Yeah, I don't know though. I saw him fight in person, maybe his fifth or sixth fight, and I was really impressed at that time.
Okay.
Again, I don't know. I didn't know his background at the time, but I was this kid is super athletic and strong. And I knew he was young. So I knew he's been on my radar since I was in Japan. He's a young and up and coming killer. So we'll see. We'll see how good he is, and honestly, who knows how much of the truth these fighters say about their training.
It's true.
Just because they say they're up in the mountains and they spar once a month or once a week doesn't mean that that's what they actually do. Not to burst anybody's bubble, but maybe.
It's good PR though. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. Let's keep believing it at least.
Yeah. All of a sudden he can grapple as well. He kind of submits Kolesnik. Oh yeah, I'm sure you're just in the mountains.
Yeah, he's been grappling with a tree for the last year and he's a black belt or something. It's oh wow, that's pretty amazing. The mountain water must be very strong.
All right, cool. So moving on, there's Ryo Takagi versus Kimura Shuya. A great fight as well.
That's a great fight. That's a banger. I think it's a total 50-50, to be honest with you. I think it's 100% it's a 50-50 fight in my mind. And it's going to be, I think it's just a striking battle. I would think,
Yeah, a striking battle, I would imagine, would favor Kimura. Just my imagination.
I think so. But I think one thing is Ryo's really tough. Ryo has good abilities in MMA. He's still so young, but he has good natural abilities in MMA. So I think it really it's a 50-50.
But he can grapple, no? Because I think he submitted Hagiwara, Smoker.
Yeah, so how good is Kimura at grappling and wrestling? Have we ever seen him? Because hasn't he only fought like one guy?
I think two guys. He kind of like, I think he fought Keramov, and he put on a good show, but he lost. But I don't know how much you can take from just that.
What, did he get submitted by Keramov?
No, he went all 3 rounds.
Oh, listen, Karamov's a good grappler.
Yeah, I think Keramov said like he was sick or like he had the influenza before the fight, and that's why he couldn't show his best performance and stuff like that. But like, yeah, I mean, he's managed to survive Keramov on top of him and make it to the decision.
Yeah,
show some good moments. So yeah,
I mean, I think, listen, it's a tough fight. I think the Kimura kid has a lot of momentum behind him too. I don't remember the last time Takagi fought. I think it's been a while. Like, was the last time Kyoma? Has he fought since then? So I mean, personally as a friend, like I really like Takagi. I want to see him win. I think it's a tough fight though.
No, he fought one more after Kyoma, September 28th.
Oh, that's right. He did. It was a decision. Yeah, it was maybe a kickboxer as well, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I remember that. You're right. So yeah, I don't really know. I haven't spoken to Takagi enough to know like how everything's been going. So I have no like inside information by any means. And he's a good friend of mine, and I hope he wins.
Yeah.
I'll be supporting him. I'll be cheering for him.
Yeah. I think he's gaining popularity though within the RIZIN fan community.
I hope so, man. He's cool. Like,
yeah, exactly. He's cool.
All the American guys really like him.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he's like all of our, we have a big team of, a bunch of guys on our team, and everybody likes Takagi. So he's like a cool aura about him.
Yeah, he's very cool.
He's a really, really good person. He's a very kind person. So I got nothing but good things to say about him. He's a great friend of mine.
I hope it works out for him. Gustavo and Sakuraba, which is another interesting one.
Kind of a weird one.
Unexpected, yes.
Yeah, I think Sakuraba wins.
Okay, that'll be big.
Yeah, it'd be huge, but I think it's one of those fights in your career where it's like it's a tough opponent, but you're meant to pass the test. It's like a test of how tough is Sakuraba, because I think Gustavo's pretty tough. But yeah, I think Sakuraba's gonna win.
What do you think in the grappling aspects?
Yeah, probably like if you look at kind of Brazilian striking, like it's good. The Brazilian Muay Thai style is good, but it's like very heavy. So like, yeah, I think with, the right positioning and movement, I think you're going to end up with a clash and, potential takedown off of it right into the grappling. And plus Sakuraba is super long. Like, so if he tangles up your legs or, gets on your back, I think he's just like a hard guy to get off you.
Yeah.
I would imagine just by looking, I've never trained with him, but by looking at his body type, I would imagine if he can tangle up your legs, it could be a headache.
Gustavo is interesting because when I think of a Brazilian MMA fighter, I automatically think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. But like he's not.
So this blew my mind. I had the same thought. And when I was living in Norway, we would cross-train with All-Stars in Sweden a lot. And so they have a bunch of Brazilians and, a bunch of guys from all over the world. And that's where, do you know who Felipe Lima is?
Is he a UFC fighter?
Felipe Lima is a UFC fighter. He was before an octagon champion.
Okay.
I think he's a featherweight now. But I met him when he was like 17 years old. And he was a killer then. He was trained with this guy named John Vetley, and that was like a amateur world champ Muay Thai fighter. Anyways, he was a killer back when he was 17. And he was telling me, like, because I worked with him in wrestling and some grappling stuff, and he showed me how big Brazil is. Like, Brazil is a huge country.
Yeah.
Like, geographically, it's massive.
Yeah.
And he told me, like, hey, this half of the country is really good at jiu-jitsu. And this half of the country is known for striking.
Oh, okay.
And, like, you look at, like, Nova Niao, where, like, Jose Aldo's from, and my one of my business partners and coaches I work with, his name's Mateus, he's from Nova Niao, and they're all strikers. So I think it's just probably where you're from in Brazil.
Right, but, like, those strikers, like Jose Aldo, doesn't he have a black belt? And, like, I guess guys like Anderson Silva too, he's got great striking, but he's got a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, what the fuck does a black belt mean, dude?
Don't be a hater, really.
A black belt doesn't mean anything, dude. Like, listen, here's the fucking test. My purple belts will beat most black belts that I can think of.
Okay, yes.
Like, what does it mean? Who cares?
I don't know. It's just great marketing, I guess.
For the marketing, for the legacy. If you're like a true black belt, sure. But like, what does that mean?
Right. Okay.
Like, Derek Lewis has his black belt.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
He doesn't. He does?
I think so. Maybe no. I don't know. I might just be talking shit now. But what does it mean? What does a black belt mean? I don't know.
But like a guy like Anderson Silva was good, right? Like he actually submitted people, right?
Of course. But like Jose Aldo, like you just saw him strike with people. Like you didn't really see him grapple too much.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, is he a black belt? Sure, maybe. But like, what does that mean? He's an amazing fighter. He avoided the takedowns. He had great wrestling. He had great everything. So I don't think we can compare like those legends versus like your standard fighter.
I understand. So like what you're saying is like there's the Damian Mayas and then there's like the Jose Aldo kind of like split, like the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the strikers kind of.
Right. Well, and that's also like, just not to get on too much on the topic, but you see that with like when people always criticize like, oh, is jiu-jitsu good for the sport? Or, is jiu-jitsu the strongest, martial art in the sport, or is wrestling or whatever? And it's like, everybody always goes back to the examples of like Charles Oliveira and Damian Maia and these different phenoms, absolute phenoms in grappling. It's most guys can't do that. Like, that's just the truth. Like 99% of guys can't do that.
So like you have to be like super duper good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to actually make it work in MMA is basically what it is.
I think so. Yeah, I think you have to be really, really, really good. And really good doesn't necessarily mean black belt world champion. You have to be really good for MMA in Jiu-Jitsu. Because there's plenty of black belt world champions that like, look at Rodolfo Vieira. Like he just hasn't really translated well. I mean, he's in the UFC. He's good. But comparably to like an Oliveira or other guys hasn't translated the same way, I don't think.
It's how you use it as well. So not all Brazilians have a black belt, or even if not all Brazilians have a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and even if they did, it might not be like what we're all expecting, like an awesome, magician on the ground. It might be a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, because you just get smothered and punched. And changes, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different sport. That's why MMA is interesting, right? Because it's a bunch of martial arts combined in one, and every fighter kind of like picks and chooses what he wants to use and what not to use, and they make up their style. It's an interesting sport.
I mean, I got a fighter on my team now. He's got like 9 submissions, like 5 of them in the UFC, and I think he has a blue belt.
All right, so your belt really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know what it means.
Interesting. It's interesting. That's about it. There's also one I'm personally interested in, Takagi Soya and Tony Laramie.
I think Soya wins.
Yeah.
Straight up, I think Soya wins. But one thing about Laramie is like Laramie's really good. And for whatever reason, he doesn't choose to wrestle and grapple. But he is a very good all-rounded fighter. But like we just haven't like seen him do it. He likes to kickbox. He just likes to stand and bang, which I think makes him a very fun guy to have in, the promotion. Yeah,
it definitely would help with as far as like the fans appreciating his fights, but I mean, you also have to get the win, right? So there's a fine line there.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I think Soya wins.
Yeah, I hope so too. I like him. He's got a great story with his, overcoming his Crohn's disease and stuff like that.
Oh, that's right. That is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy when you think about it, because God, I saw some pictures. He's like so skinny. Like,
it's pretty inspirational, actually. He's always been a guy that I like to watch. I thought we were like, when I was coaching Hiroya for one of the fights, I thought we were gonna actually have to fight Soya. So I watched quite a bit of his tape, but he's tough, man. He's super tough.
Yeah, he's tough. He did that bare knuckle with Dodson once.
Did he beat Dodson?
No, he lost in the bare knuckle fight. And then they did it in MMA, and then he decided to wrestle Dodson, and then he won the decision. Yeah, but it was funny because they did this crazy bare knuckle fight, and it was super exciting, and Soya got his face just destroyed. It was so nasty.
Jeez.
And then they did the rematch in MMA, and Soya was like, "Fuck that! I'm not doing that again." And he decided to take a playbook from Ogi Kubo's, game, and just like take him down and hold him. And then he got so much shit for it because his fight was boring.
Yeah.
And that's why he wasn't in the tournament originally, the flyweight tournament last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he beat Dodson, but his fight was boring. That Ryzen didn't put him in the tournament. And then, interestingly enough, the Ryzen fans got upset with that Soya wasn't in there because he beat Dodson. He should be in there. So that's why they did the voting thing.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's kind of cool. I remember the voting thing. I thought it was pretty interesting. That was fun though. I remember like when Hiroya got his draw and watching that whole event. It was cool how they did it.
Yeah, it was cool how they did it. They make an event out of that. So that's what Ryzen, they do it well.
Yeah, Ryzen's fun, man. Ryzen it's refreshing actually. Like I like the mix of, I'm so like now invested in the UFC, and we have so many guys that are coming up and pushing that direction. It's so serious. Like the UFC is so serious. where Ryzen is like a little bit more fun.